A UK intelligence agency confirms that it's highly likely Russia is responsible for a series of cyber attacks on some of the UK's public sector organisations. The UK Foreign Office says it shares concerns held by the US about a continuing pattern of Russian malign activity.
The UK and the US accuse the Kremlin of being behind a series of cyber attacks, including the SolarWinds compromise. The Foreign Office has summoned the Russian ambassador. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said the UK will continue to work with allies to call out Russia's malign behavior where we see it. GCHQ's National Cybersecurity Center assessed that it's highly likely Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service is responsible for gaining unauthorized access to SolarWinds Orion software and subsequent intrusions. The center confirmed a low single-digit number of public sector organizations were targeted, but the overall impact is low. The Foreign Office's spokesperson says the UK government has made it clear to the Russian ambassador that the UK supports the US government's actions.
The Biden administration imposes new sanctions on Russia. They are in response to alleged cyber attacks and interference in the 2020 election. Biden says he is prepared to take further action if Russia continues to interfere with US democracy. NTD's Jason Perry has more.
President Biden signed an executive order Thursday bringing new sanctions against Russia. This comes, in part, in retaliation for the SolarWinds breach in which hackers gained access to the networks of at least 9 U.S. government agencies.
When President Putin called me in January after I was sworn in to congratulate me, I told him that my administration would be looking very carefully, now that we had access to all the data, and at the issues to assess Russia's role and then determine what response we would make. When we spoke again this week, I told him that we would shortly be responding in a measured and a proportionate way because we had concluded that they had interfered in the election and SolarWinds was totally out of the inappropriate.
The White House says the sanctions are also in response to Russian interference in the 2020 presidential election, among a host of other actions that sought to harm the U.S.
And because elections are sacred, they're sovereign undertakings, and they're an expression of the will of the American people. And we cannot allow a foreign power to interfere in our democratic process with impunity. And I told them if it turned out that as I thought, that there was engagement in our elections, that I'd respond.
The White House also announced the expulsion of 10 Russian diplomats. Press Secretary Jen Psaki comments on the move.
Our objective here is not to escalate. Our objective here is to impose costs for what we feel are unacceptable actions by the Russian government.
Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman said such aggressive behavior will undoubtedly trigger a resolute retaliation. Senator Lindsey Graham supports the sanctions against Russia.
I applaud the Biden administration. I think this is a good step. Keep it up. But Nord Stream 2 needs to be in the mix.
Nord Stream 2 is an offshore pipeline currently under construction that would allow Russian gas exports to bypass Ukraine and other countries in the region. This is the second set of sanctions the Biden administration placed on Russia since taking office. The first round came after the poisoning of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. The White House had previously invited President Putin to a climate change conference to be held at the end of the month, but it is unknown if he will attend. Jason Perry, NTD News.
The Taiwanese president says Taiwan would work with the US to deter military threats from Beijing. This while she was meeting with the US delegation visiting the island.
We are very willing to work with like-minded countries, including the US, to jointly safeguard the peace and stability of the Indo-Pacific and deter adventurous maneuvers and provocations.
In the last few months, Taiwan has complained that China's Air Force sends almost daily missions near its air defense identification zone. Most recently, on Monday, a record number of Chinese fighter jets and nuclear-capable bombers flew into Taiwan's ADIZ. And Wednesday, China announced it would begin 5 days of live-fire drills off part of its coast, facing Taiwan. The emissaries visiting Taiwan include former U.S. officials, and their arrival was meant to signal Biden's commitment to safeguarding Taiwan and its democracy. Former U.S. Senator Chris Dodd assured Tsai the U.S. is Taiwan's, quote, reliable, trusted friend, and the alliance is stronger than ever. China described its military exercises near Taiwan as combat drills and said the U.S. meeting in Taiwan, quote, will only exacerbate the tense situation in the Taiwan Strait.
Car maker Daimler on Thursday unveiled the electric version of its flagship luxury sedan. It's taken the fight to market leader Tesla in the battle for electric vehicle market share.
To launch a new S-Class is always a very big event for this company, an emotional event. But this is really the start of a new era.
The Mercedes EQS is designed from the ground up as an electric vehicle. The car has a range of nearly 480 miles and a new display screen that can cover almost the entire dashboard. It'll go on sale in Europe and the United States in August. Sales of electric and hybrid cars in the EU almost tripled to over 1 million vehicles last year, accounting for more than 10% of overall sales. And in other news, Ireland's Data Protection Commission is launching an inquiry into Facebook after reports of a data leak. The dataset reportedly contains personal data from over 500 million Facebook users worldwide. Facebook says malicious actors got the data by scraping profiles using weakness in the platform's tool for syncing contacts. The watchdog says it believes the leak infringes on the EU's data protection rules. It says some of the data was from an older leak, but some of the data might be more recent. Facebook says it's fully cooperating. And in other news, a model train in Germany set a world record. It gives people a musical journey by tapping wine glasses along its course.
This musical model train now holds a Guinness World Record for the longest melody played by a model train. It's at Germany's Miniature Wonderland Museum in Hamburg. Museum founder and model train enthusiast Frederick Brown spent weeks on this project amid the country's virus lockdown.
It's not all perfect, but just try to play Verdi with wine glasses, or even worse, the bolero, if you only have 2 octaves at your disposal. And that's why I say, this world record is a mega world record. It won't be beaten anytime soon, I'm certain of that.
The train can produce 20 different classical tunes, including those by Johann Strauss and Beethoven. It chugs along the track lined with about 3,000 liquid-filled wine glasses. But the construction work posed significant challenges for Frederick and his team. First, they had to set up miniature landscapes surrounding the train track, such as tiny versions of cities like Hamburg and Las Vegas. Another challenge was that water in the glasses would evaporate and cause off notes.
So we've been looking for solutions. We tried it with plastic wrap to cover the surface, and we found out that a light oil, very liquid oil, so not cooking oil or something, it's best to create a layer on top that preserves it, and then there's hardly any evaporation.
This is the museum's second Guinness World Record. It also boasts the world's largest model train set, with a total track length of nearly 10 miles.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Lees.